The rumble of engines filled the quiet morning streets of Atlanta, the golden sun reflecting off rows of gleaming chrome as a group of bikers thundered down the road. They were a brotherhood, tough-looking men with tattoos, leather jackets, and hearts still carrying pieces of the past. At the front rode Marcus Steele Johnson, their leader, a former Marine, now using bike rides to escape the noise inside his head. He believed he'd seen it all, until that day. They were cruising past the old gas station on 9th Street when Marcus caught sight of something that made him ease off the throttle. By the sidewalk stood a little black girl, maybe 8 or 9 years old, holding a small, faded pink bicycle. The bike looked worn, one pedal missing, paint chipped, chain hanging loose. She stood with it like it was treasure, her little hands clutching the handlebar tight. Her hair was tied in small braids with pink beads that caught the morning sun. As Marcus slowed down, the other bikers followed, confused but trusting him. Then they heard her soft voice over the hum of their engines, trembling, yet brave enough to be heard. "Sir, would you buy my bike?" she asked, her eyes glistening with tears she was trying so hard to hold back. "Please." Mom didn't. The group went silent. For a second, no one moved. No one spoke. The words hit them harder than any crash could. High voltage. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and helping others even when it's hard, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Let's keep stories like this alive. High voltage. Marcus turned off his engine and stepped off the bike. The rest of the group followed, forming a quiet half-circle around the little girl. She looked terrified but stood her ground. There was something in her eyes, not fear of them, but a deep sadness far beyond her years. Her name was Alea. When Marcus knelt down to her level, he noticed the dirt on her shoes, the torn hem of her shirt, and the way she kept glancing back toward the alley behind her, as if someone might come and stop her. He gently asked why she wanted to sell the bike. Alea looked down, brushing the dust with her shoe. Then, in a small voice that cracked midway, she said, "Mom said if I want a birthday cake this year, I gotta earn it myself. She can't afford it anymore. So, I thought maybe I could sell my bike." The air grew heavy. Even the birds seemed to go silent. One of the bikers, Rico, whispered, "Man, this ain't right." Marcus didn't respond. He was frozen, his heart suddenly pounding in his chest. Because what she said reminded him of something he had buried long ago. When he was a kid, his mama used to skip meals so he could eat. She'd smile and say she wasn't hungry, even when he knew she was starving. He looked at Alea again. She wasn't begging for money. She wasn't asking for sympathy. She was trying to trade something precious, the only toy she had, for a small piece of happiness that broke him. He asked her where her mom was. She hesitated but finally pointed toward a small, crumbling apartment building across the street. The paint was peeling off, the windows covered in plastic sheets instead of glass. "Mom's inside," she said quietly. "She's been sick lately, but she still tries to go to work. She cleans houses. But some days, she can't get up." Marcus swallowed hard. He looked back at his brothers, big, rough men, all suddenly standing still with eyes that spoke louder than words. They didn't see a stranger anymore. They saw a child carrying a world too heavy for her tiny shoulders. Marcus told her, "How much do you want for the bike?" She thought for a moment, then whispered, $5. $5. A lifetime's worth of innocence and sacrifice, priced at $5. Marcus reached into his pocket and pulled out his wallet. He took out a $100 bill and handed it to her. But Alea shook her head. "No, sir," she said softly. "That's too much. It's not worth that much." Marcus felt a lump form in his throat. "It's worth more than that," he said. "Much more." She looked up at him, her big brown eyes full of confusion, then hope. But when he told her to keep the bike, she froze again. "You mean I don't have to sell it?" "No, sweetheart," Marcus said, smiling through misty eyes. "You keep that bike. And you buy that cake for your mama." Tears welled up in her eyes as she held the money close. "Thank you, sir," she whispered. "I'll make her smile again." But Marcus wasn't done. Something in his heart told him this wasn't just about the bike or the cake. It was about giving back, about doing something that mattered. So he told the group to follow him. They crossed the street and knocked on the apartment door. It took a while, but finally, a tired-looking woman opened it. Her eyes widened when she saw the men, big, intimidating bikers standing outside her door. Marcus spoke gently. "Ma'am, we met your daughter. She's special. She told us you haven't been doing well. We just wanted to help, if that's okay." At first, she tried to refuse. Her pride fought her pain. But when she saw Alea holding the money and the way the bikers looked at her with respect, not pity, something in her broke. She covered her face with her hands and began to cry. Her name was Jasmine. She had been raising Alea alone ever since her husband died 2 years earlier in an accident. Bills piled up, jobs fell through, and some nights, she'd go to bed hungry just to make sure Alea could eat. She was fighting every day, but losing ground. Marcus looked around her home, bare walls, a small couch, no food on the table. He turned back to his crew. "Brothers," he said quietly, "we're fixing this." The next day, they came back, not with sympathy, but with solutions. They brought groceries, a new bed, clothes, and toys for Alea. They repaired the apartment's broken lights, replaced the window covers, and even got a small cake with pink frosting that read, "Happy Birthday, Alea." When Jasmine saw it all, she broke down again, hugging her daughter tightly. For the first time in a long time, her tears were of joy, not despair. As they all sat around the little living room sharing slices of cake, Marcus couldn't help but smile. Alea was laughing, really laughing, the way kids should. And when she looked up and said, "Mom, we got visitors who feel like angels," Marcus had to turn away for a second just to keep it together. In that moment, something changed for everyone in the room. Marcus realized kindness didn't have to come in grand gestures. Sometimes, it was as simple as listening, showing up, or helping a stranger breathe easier. Rico later said that day was better than any ride they'd ever been on. They didn't just fix a bike or buy a cake, they restored someone's faith in humanity. That weekend, the biker group officially started a small local project called Wings on Wheels, helping single mothers, veterans, and struggling families in their community. They made it their mission to bring hope wherever their wheels could roll. Months later, Alea's mom got a steady job at a local diner the bikers helped her find. Alea got a brand new bike for Christmas, a shiny red one this time, with her name on it. But she never got rid of the old pink bike. She said it reminded her of the day she learned what real kindness looks like. And Marcus? Every time he rode down that same street, he'd slow down near the gas station, just for a second, remembering that small voice that had stopped a dozen roaring engines and softened a dozen hardened hearts. Sometimes, the loudest miracles come from the quietest voices.